Hello lovely people, welcome to this short foot mobility class to bring a long-lasting spring into your step. What you need is a towel, 2 yoga blocks or books, and a massage ball. I'm using the Slings Myofascial training ball here that has nodules. You can also use a shear ball. You can use a tennis ball, but I suggest to use a soft tool. If you use a hard tool like a tennis ball, go gentle. You want to invite your body to let go and to adapt to the tool you use rather than forcing it. Let's start with our hands. So to wake up your interstitials, just stroke slightly, lightly over the sole of your foot. You can move your toes a little bit, go to the inner arch, outer arch, then just across in front of your heel, on the ball of your foot, and then just generous strokes. The interstitials are nerve endings on the bottom of your foot, and they perceive light touch. And then take your towel, bring your towel around the bottom of your foot and give it a little rub. It may feel in some areas a little tender or gets hot quicker. You can wiggle your toes. Now use the towel to take the foot into a medial tilt and then into a lateral tilt. So bringing the inner arch further away from you and the outer arch further away from you. And you can use the towel as a guide. And then extend your knee a little, bring it into a soft extension, and now plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. One more time, leading with the big toe, base of your big toe, as you plantar flex. And then we take the towel to stimulate the retinaculum, the band that wraps around your ankle, and to stimulate the top of your foot, also the top of the toes and the outside of your ankle, inside ankle, and then go up a little bit lateral and just keep the movement going up to your knee and back down. And as you do this movement, dorsi and plantar flex your foot. Little stimulus for your tibialis anterior. And then take the towel to the back of your knee. Extend your knee as you rub the back of your knee and bend, and then you travel down, staying with the knee bent with the towel and dorsi and plantar flex. So when we work with the foot, we can't just stay with the foot. We have to look past the ankle, up the lines. Good. And then we get to the other foot. Just sense for a moment difference between left and right. You may want to stand up and go for a little walk. Then we'll begin with the soft stroke of your fingers on the sole of your foot, moving your toes, inner arch, outer arch, just in front of your heel, the base of the ball of your foot, and the toes, and then generous strokes again to stimulate the interstitials. Then you take your towel around the sole of your foot again, rubbing up and down towards your heel and back up again. And now guiding the foot into medial tilt and lateral tilt, and aim for a still knee. So try not to let the knee tilt in and out. Just moving your foot into a little bit more of a medial and lateral tilt. And then plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, just help here a little bit as well. Little guidance. And now extend your knee and bend, extend and bend your knee, extend and bend your knee. Lovely. And then you take your towel and rub the top of your foot around your ankle, also moving your foot lightly, top of the toes. And now going to the outside, so to the outside of your shin bone, and rubbing up to your knee and back down, stimulating tibialis anterior, superficial fascia, anterior compartment of the leg, dorsiflexing, plantar flexing the foot. Taking now the towel to the back of your knee, and here you can extend and bend the knee and also dorsiflex and plantar flex. For the posterior compartment of the leg. Lovely. Okay, and now we mobilize our toes. So take your fingers in between the toes and just do generous, gentle movements. Into one direction, circle, into the other direction, go into extension, a bit of flexion, extension, flexion. And now we're gonna, like a towel, wring the midfoot. So you take the base of your foot into one hand, the other hand on top of your foot, and just mobilize as if you would want to twist the foot within itself. The other side, take your fingers in between your toes and then circle your toes into one direction and into the other direction. Extend and flex. And now we will wring the foot again as it works for you, however you want to grab the foot, moving the hands against each other, bringing a lateral rotational movement into the midfoot bones. Okay, now you'll either use a ball, a soft ball, or if you don't have a soft ball, use a towel. And with a towel, you will build a little ramp for your big toe, and you will step. Just bring your big toe onto the towel for a big toe extension. Step with the other leg over the towel and lift the heel, mimicking the toe of face in your gait cycle. And you obviously can do this also with a ball, with a soft ball that allows the toe to stay on without rolling away from you. So here I just have my big toe on the ball, and then I step over forward into a toe extension. And change side, you use either the towel or the ball, bringing the big toe onto the ball into extension, and then you step over the ball, lifting your heel up, taking the big toe into an extension. Wonderful. Okay. So find your standing position. Your feet are hip-width distance apart. The knees are softly extended. Your pelvis in a centered position. Your spine elongated. You're breathing three-dimensionally through the rib cage. The neck is long. And we're finding our center standing on both feet. So begin with a few circles in one direction, then into the other direction, waking up the intrinsic musculature of your feet, but also getting a sense of which foot am I actually standing on more, where is my weight distributed in both feet. Maintaining a soft extension of your knees, maintaining the responsiveness of your knees. Then finding center in between both feet, left and right, and then within each foot, finding the tripod of your foot. And you may sense in one foot you are standing more on the heel side, or you're standing more on the front of the foot. So try to even that out. Lift your toes, spread them wide if you can. And now bend one knee and turn your foot slightly in, hook the big toe down to the floor, keep the big toe hooked onto the floor, turn your foot out and spread the rest of the toes onto the floor. And we do the same thing with the other side, a little medial rotation of the thigh, bringing the big toe to the ground and then twisting the leg out to get a little bit more distance between the big toe and the remaining toes. Your pelvis is in a centered position. And then with the next exhalation, take your arms over your head. Inhale three-dimensionally into your rib cage and the arms circle down. Exhale, arm arc. Inhale, arm circle. We add a heel raise. Exhale, pushing down the base of your big toe. Inhale, back onto your heels. Inhale, and if you feel like your ankles are feeling wobbly, imagine someone is holding them from the back, keeping them as still as possible. Keep your heels down. Exhale, take your arms up, and then a rhythmical double knee bend. Inhale, and then exhale. And every time you go into your double knee bend, you change the cross of your arms. Your pelvis stays in an upright position. For some of you, it means that you may have to bring your pubic bone slightly forward and up. And now we add a heel raise. Come up onto your toes. And now heels down, double knee bent, onto your toes, double knee bent. Improving elasticity in your fascial structures of the foot and ankle, your Achilles tendon, but also the fascial bags of the posterior compartment, especially. And then lower down, lower your arms, and lower your heels. From here, come into a kneeling position. We are going to mobilize the ankle in terms of dorsal and plantar flexion now and integrate the knee and the hip. From your kneeling position, lift up, step forward onto your left foot, and then come back into kneeling position. Then come up onto a high kneeling position again and step into a lateral step. Bend your knee, keeping the heel down on the floor, and bring your knee back to the ground, sitting down. And then from here, again into a side step, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, stepping back into kneeling and forward, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, maintaining the uprightness of your pelvis, and coming back to seated position. Other side, step forward, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, step back into a side step, maintaining the uprightness of the pelvis, and step back and we reverse. We go into a side step, into a seated position, forward step, into a seated position. And then step forward with your foot again. I will show you from the side for a better visual. Keeping the foot entirely on the ground, spine elongated. You may want to use blocks here. And then shift your weight forward and back and forward. And some of the toes may want to lift up, or your big toe wants to lift up as you shift back into a plantar flexion. And now extend the knee. Keep a little bend in the back of your knee. Bring the toes up. Allow the little toe to come towards you more. And then extend the knee a little and bend. Extend a bit more, not into a full extension, just that you feel the tension increasing. Now push the heel into the ground and begin to circle your foot into the other direction, and then bring the foot forward, one more dorsiflexion, and step back into a low kneeling position. Step forward with the other foot. Take your hands down to the floor. And now here, a little extension, maintaining a slight bend in the knee. And moving into dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Maintaining contact with the floor at all times. And now extend the leg, but keep a little bend in your knee. Come into dorsiflexion of your foot, bringing your little toe side closer towards you. Circle your foot. Circle your foot to the other side. Wonderful. And then come back into a low kneeling position. Now we will massage the four arches of our foot. Begin with the lateral arch, so you step onto your ball, bring the foot slightly forward towards the other, and just smoosh it out a little bit. So you would just want to peel the foot down towards the ground from the ball if possible. If you have a smooth ball, you just allow the lateral arch to rest and may just move forward and backwards. Then we come to the medial arch of your foot. If you have a textured ball, you may be able to smoosh it down towards the floor, coming to a standing position. If you have a soft ball, you just try to step with the medial arch a little bit more into this area. And just giving mobility of the tissues and the bones. Now bring the ball just in front of your heel, or the sense of the ball. And now windscreen wiper your heel to the left and the right. And do the same, the front of the foot, the toes are up, and you windscreen wipe the foot, you wave with your foot from the left to the right side. We'll do the same with the other foot. We begin with the lateral arch of your foot, just smearing down the tissues towards the ground from the apex of the ball down towards the floor. Or if you have a soft ball, roll a little bit or pause and stand on the ball, take a couple of breaths. We move on to the medial arch. Same movements, moving the foot down towards the ground. Or if you have a harder ball, you just stand and massage the medial arch. Now take the ball to just in front of your heel And then you wave left and right with the back of your heel. And then you go to the front of your foot, just below the base of the foot, and wave your foot again, left and right, moving along the distal transverse arch of your foot. Wonderful. Now take your blocks. I have 2 blocks here next to each other, and you can also use large books. Allow the heel drop to drop down. If you need to, you can hold on to a wall or your partner. Again, finding the ground of your big toe especially. Imagine that someone is holding your ankles from the back. A centered pelvis, responsively extended knees, an upright rib cage that is not in a posterior nor an anterior tilt, breathing 3-dimensionally, and then pushing into your big toe as you raise your heels up and down. And now do little bounces with the heel past the blocks. This should be a very light movement. Tiny little bounces. Now take your arms up over your head again, pushing the big toe down, and then bend your knees slightly as you circle your arms down, lifting up again. Lower the heels below the level of the blocks. Arm arch. Bend your knees. Heels are still off and up. Arm arch and arm circle. Heels below the level of your blocks. Little bounces again. Long, deep breath. Excellent. Thank you for joining me. I hope this class will send you into a resilient and strong foot future with a lovely spring in your step.